We're back in Walt Disney World, Florida. We've been here a few times over the last couple of years and we've brought you guys along for the ride! So we thought we'd share with you some of our favourite things to do
in
all 4 Disney parks. So you know what to look out for on your trip. From thrill rides to dark rides.
From shows to gluten-free snacks.
And last but not least, we'll be staying at the Polynesian Village Resort in a club level room so we can check out everything it has to offer. So strap on your ears and hold on tight because we're going on the ultimate Disney park adventure. Welcome to the experimental prototype community of tomorrow, or better known as EPCOT.
The most exciting, the most important part of our Florida project, in fact, the heart of everything we'll be doing in Disney World, will be our experimental prototype city of tomorrow. We call it EPCOT.
Originally imagined as a living blueprint for the future, Walt Disney's vision of EPCOT was meant to showcase cutting-edge technology and urban design. Unfortunately, after his death, the ambitious city concept was transformed into the theme park we explore today. Now, EPCOT stands as a celebration of human innovation and international culture, inspiring millions with attractions that embody the spirit of global unity and technological progress. Stay with us as we show you around the park, highlighting our picks for the top attractions and our must-dos every time we visit. But before we do that, we should get a photo in front of the Earth with your little mini ears on. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then we'll take a journey back in time on Spaceship Earth. When you first enter the park, and to be honest, long before you enter the park, you'll be greeted by a huge 55 metre tall, or 180 foot for Americans who like to use weird measurements, geodesic dome known as Spaceship Earth. It's the centrepiece of EPCOT and its flagship attraction, and really is an impressive sight. Now, I know most people love the castles, and don't get me wrong, they're fantastic, but I love Spaceship Earth personally, and more so these days with the addition of the light shows that are played every night. It's not just the giant silver ball though, it also houses the ride Spaceship Earth, one of only 2 remaining opening day attractions way back in 1982, the other one being Living with the Land. While dated, it's a fun ride. Yes, the photos it takes at the start don't always work, and the touchscreens are hit and miss, and the information it gives is a little oversimplified version of history that glosses over and omits a lot of details, leaving out many cultures' influences throughout major points in the human story, but that is understandable given the constraints Imagineers had to work with. It's not a ride I'd personally queue up for, but saying that, a lot of the time the queues are fairly short, and that's if it isn't a walk-on. That's not to say you won't see a queue, especially at the start of the day with it being front and centre as you enter the park, but as a whole, it's normally a good choice to just jump on when you don't want to queue for hours, like some of the other rides at the park. Now, this theme park certainly has a different vibe to it than other theme parks, with what you describe as a more mature atmosphere, plus you get to eat and drink around the world. So for me, this is probably my favourite park here in Orlando. These days, EPCOT consists of 4 different theme worlds with World Nature, Celebration, Discovery and Showcase. But in reality, despite Disney trying to overhaul the park, it still, to me at least, has that distinct feeling of 2 main areas. You have the front of the park, which used to be known as Future World, consisting of World Celebration, Nature and Discovery, where you'll find most of the rides and attractions that you would normally associate with a theme park. And then at the back of the park, you've got World Showcase, which is a huge area full of uniquely themed pavilions based on multiple countries from around the world. This is where you'll mainly find food stands, plenty of shopping and alcohol, and it is also where you'll be watching the evening's fireworks show. Given that it's the first area you encounter as you enter EPCOT, with Spaceship Earth being its main attraction and at the front of the park, And seeing as we've already mentioned that, we'll start with World Celebration. There isn't too much going on really. There is the new gardens with the statue of Walt Disney, dubbed Walt the Dreamer, where you can get your photo taken sat on a bench with the man himself, Spaceship Earth looming in the background. And the lighting effects are pretty cool on the evening here as well. But other than that, you've got the Connections Cafe and Shop, Club Call. Do not try the Beverly flavour, you have been warned.
Right, so then let's try.
Let's try these.
So what have we got?
That's weird, so that's...
So let's start with weird.
We'll start with weird.
If you think this is weird,
Or should we just
you
go
put...
for one cup of each? Or should we push it?
So, this is weird apparently.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna smell it. Beverly with its bitter flavour. Oh, it's gonna be better.
And then at the back, just before you get to World Showcase, you have two more attractions. One being Disney and Pixar Short Film Festival, which, while it is cool and can be used as a place to rest your feet and get away from the burning Orlando midday sun, is just a couple of short Pixar films, which I'm pretty sure you can just watch on Disney Plus these days anyway. The other, however, is Journey into Imagination with everyone's favourite theme park mascot and the face of EPCOT, Figment. This cheeky little guy will, along with Dr. Nigel Channing, played by Monty Python star Eric Idle, will take you on a journey into, that's right, your imagination. I know, shocking, right? It's charming, fun, quirky, and again, like Spaceship Earth, a little dated. However, it has, as I just said, a charm about it, and especially for those who have been coming to Disney or visited a long time ago, a level of nostalgia that can't be beaten anywhere else in EPCOT. I'd say there's a little bit of a cult following of Figment, and you'll see what I mean if you're ever around when a new popcorn bucket or something similar comes out. I remember when we visited back in 2022, a new popcorn bucket was released, and I kid you not, the queue was 8 hours long. The FOMO was real and people went crazy. I don't personally see the attraction, but I guess everyone's a little different. We were smart about it, however, and gave it a few days and queued up for about 20 minutes after the hype had died down. Certainly beats another 7.5 hours, again in the blistering Orlando sun. But each to their own.
Did you know that the water at EPCOT goes up instead of down? Do you want to know why? Sorcerer, Mickey.
I should also mention, if anybody watching this is a DVC member or looking to become a DVC member, the DVC Lounge is located above this ride in the glass pyramid. You can get to it from a small booth inside the entrance to the shop. As you enter, just look to the right hand side with your counter on the left, and there's normally a cast member that they're waiting where you can book in and go up.
That was quite the snort, wasn't it?
As you enter the park, if you head to your right around Spaceship Earth, you'll end up in World Nature. Now, I'm sure as you can probably piece together from the not so cryptic title of this neighbourhood, as EPCOT likes to call them, is it's themed around nature. It's home to quite a few attractions with a couple of fan favourite, along with a couple of not quite so popular rides, and one of EPCOT's newest attractions, Journey of Water, inspired by Moana. Journey of Water, like I said, is pretty new and we've only had the chance to experience it once. That said, it was pretty cool. It's a walkthrough attraction blending interactive and educational elements with themes from the Disney film Moana.
Gotta have a bit of trust with that one, ain't you?
This experience invites visitors to explore natural water behaviours through playful interactions, teaching about the water cycle and its importance to the ecosystem.
You can be like Mickey, can't you?
It's It's designed to inspire appreciation and understanding of water as a vital resource, plus especially when it's super hot, and this is Florida, so it's usually pretty hot. You can get yourself wet and cool off a bit, and what's more fun than drenching your partner, child, significant other, or other family member when they don't want to. Sorry Claire, but I love it.
It's wet.
Don't mess around with the water, man.
Sticking to the topic of water, next up we've got Living with the Land, a boat ride inside the Land Pavilion. See what I did there? Water, boats, because boats are on water. Moving swiftly on. This gentle journey takes guests through various ecosystems, showcasing innovative agricultural practices and the importance of sustainability. Visitors experience different growing techniques and environments, such as rainforests, desert terrains, and prairies, along with a look at futuristic greenhouses. These greenhouses demonstrate advanced methods like hydroponics, aquaponics, and aeroponics. The ride emphasises the connection between humans and the earth, promoting understanding of how we can grow food responsibly to support both the planet and its population. Like I mentioned before, this is one of only 2 surviving opening day attractions, and it's definitely one to try. It's a guest favourite for a reason. Right next door in the Land Pavilion, you've got Soaring. This ride is one that can be found in multiple locations around the world, and I'm sorry to say to any Californians out there, because I know this is a hot topic, it is a much better version than the one over at Disneyland California. The transitions, the locations, the smells, they're just better. Don't like it? Fight me in the comments. I mean, I know it's only my opinion, but I said what I said. If you've been to both, let us know in the comments and tell us which you prefer and why. I should also mention Awesome Planet, which is the other attraction in the Land Pavilion. It's okay, a one and done for me. It's a short film about the planet and highlights the biodiversity that exists in Earth's different biomes, and Claire falls asleep every single time. I know I said it's a one and done, but we also use it as a rest to get out the heat. The final attraction I'll mention in World Nature is the Seas with Nemo and Friends, which leads into the sea base. It's not the best ride, to be honest, though I do like the way they use the aquarium at the end of the ride, with the characters made to look like they're part of it as they sing a song together, stuck on like the glass. That's quite clever in my opinion. But don't get your hopes up for this one. Think the Little Mermaid ride, but not as good. I think that's a fair summary. What is pretty cool though is the sea base. While it's not part of the ride and you can go in without having to do the Nemo ride itself, when you do the ride you exit out into sea base. So naturally we always do one and then the other, and it kind of feels like a joint experience in my opinion. It's an aquarium full of a lot of our fishy friends, some dolphins, but most importantly it has a couple of manatees that Claire always makes a point of going to check out whenever we're at EPCOT. Also, if you're looking to do a diving experience or something, a scuba diving experience, that is in Walt Disney World, this is where you'll do it. And quite often we've been and we've seen people doing it and whatever. It's pretty cool, so something to check out. I've never done it, but maybe one day, although I doubt I'll ever get Claire in any kind of body of water where she has to put her head under. But there you go. To the left of Spaceship Earth when entering the park, and on the opposite side of World Celebration, is World Discovery. If fast cars, spacefaring Marvel superheroes, or nausea-inducing interplanetary simulators are more your thing, I'm looking at you, Mission Space Orange, then look no further. We've got an EPCOT classic with Test Track Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which is possibly one of, if not the best ride in all of Disney World. and the aforementioned Mission Space as the available rides and attractions for you to explore, with 2 of them known for causing a few upset stomachs. Now, I've never personally been affected by this one, and like many others, consider this to be one of the best rides in all of Disney World.
Comes out tired.
However, some people have said that this attraction has left them feeling, shall we say, a little woozy. It's a fast-moving indoor coaster based on the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. It features a reverse launch, so front row is good as usual, but also the back row has an amazing experience to offer too, and we tend to aim closer to the back. It has a unique spin where the individual ride cars rotate as you travel around the track, so wherever you sit you'll get a great view of the surrounding story. The visuals are great and the music is fantastic, with one of, I believe, 3 tracks picked at random playing throughout.
What is that noise? Noise? No one's gonna stop rock and roll from existing.
There is also a pre-show and top tip for beating the queues, which I'm sure you'll notice when you get there, as a lot of people will do so, but try to be more on the right hand side of the pre-show theatre, as that's the side the doors open, and that way you'll be closer to the front of the queue after the show and before the ride. At the time of recording this, Cosmic Rewind is still using the virtual queue system, so short of getting a paid fast pass, you can only ride this once a day.
Lightning lane, so we don't have to queue up this time. Yeah.
And you'll need to be quick off the mark to get a spot, so bear that in mind. Numero dos, sticking to the theme of space exploration and your overly large American lunch repeating on you, is Mission Space. Now, this ride has 2 options, orange or green. If you don't fancy potentially chucking up that greasy burger or pizza you got from the Connection Cafe over in World Celebration, then I'd steer clear of orange. Basically, this ride gives you a taste of what a day's work for an astronaut is like. Green takes you on a nice gentle orbit around planet Earth, where orange uses a centrifuge to create real G-forces as it simulates shooting you off to Mars. It can also be quite claustrophobic and not so generously sized for those of us with a larger body type, so bear that in mind as well. This ride, while I've done both, is pretty much a one and done for me. Maybe I'll revisit them both at some point, but I'll definitely be doing it earlier in the morning before eating anything, and planning in a rest stop afterwards to get over them G's. Now, before I move on to the last ride in this area, let's talk about Space 220. It's located right next to the entrance of Mission Space and is probably the most immersive dining experience in Disney. The food wasn't the greatest, or maybe just didn't grab my attention as much as the setting did, but this isn't somewhere you go just for the food, in my opinion. There are 2 options: you can book a table or you can visit the bar, which is probably all you really need to do, though you will need to join up the walk-up queue for that if there's space, and the wait time can vary quite a bit. We visited it a couple of years ago when it was fairly new, back with Mum, link in the description. To sum it up, you board a space elevator and are taken into orbit 220 miles into space, hence the name. Sorry for the spoiler, but it's obviously all fake. But I will say it feels pretty real. The restaurant features large windows across the entire room with a view of Earth, and the menu includes modern American cuisine with a space-inspired twist. Last but not least is Test Track. I have mixed feelings about this one, if I'm being totally honest. It's fun, but I wouldn't queue for a long time to do it. These days, we'll ride it if there's a lightning lane available or the queue is really short, but past that, I wouldn't really bother. If you've not done it, give it a go. The pre-show is fun, though you don't always do it. At least we've had times where it's been skipped. You get to build a concept car and make it as cool or as daft as you want, and your design will be pitted against everyone else's as you go through multiple tests throughout the ride. The last test, which is what most people will ride this for, is a speed test. You'll get launched out onto a high-speed loop outside the building, hitting a max speed of 65 miles an hour. It's fun, but not great. I hit faster speeds at home on the motorway. It's a firm fave with many, though showing its age a bit now, which is why there's a major overhaul on the near horizon, so I'm very interested to see what happens there. Last but very much not least, we have World Showcase, which, I think is where Epcot really shines and where it stands out from any other theme park out there. Located around the picturesque World Showcase Lagoon, there are 11 pavilions, each one representing a different country, full of shops, food, stands and attractions that each capture the essence and culture of that nation. There's somewhat of a debate about which direction one should go when exploring, with left starting at Mexico and right starting at Canada, when entering from the front of the park that is. Personally, we like to head right starting with Canada, but a lot of people swear by starting in Mexico. I'm going to say it's mainly for the margaritas, so make of that what you will. If you've been before and have a preference, tell us in the comments below and why you choose the way you choose. Seeing as we go right when we visit, I'll list the pavilions going anti-clockwise. There's Canada, United Kingdom, France, Morocco, Japan, the American Adventure, Italy, Germany, China, Norway, and finally Mexico. I'm not sure if it's the Brit in me, but heading right just feels a bit more natural. One, because we get to see the United Kingdom pavilion pretty much straight off the bat and see just how bad of a job they've managed to do on the fish and chips. Honestly, if you're American or just not British and you try these, don't think that's what they're like over here in the UK, because it's really not.
You want a corgi?
Oh, it's Douglas, the corgi.
You want one?
Oh, you'll have two though, won't you?
You'll have two. They said there's a couple went up for adoption last year.
Let me head you.
Yeah.
Also, the basic bro in me is very much a fan of the Japanese pavilion, which I get to explore sooner by heading right.
Gudetama. Look how they take little face. Look how soft he is. I think we should get him.
Should we have a look up there? We've never looked.
Baby,
Yeah?
you know what?
What?
Those fish are looking a little coy today.
Were they being all coy with you? Would they not pose for a photo?
It was, yeah. I don't like them.
And finishing off with a margarita after cooking in the Florida heat for the many hours we spend traveling around the World Showcase is just the perfect way to finish off, in my opinion. Many people love to drink around the world here, and when the Food and Wine Festival is on, eating around the world is good fun as well. If you plan on doing this though, be prepared to burn a huge hole in your pocket. It's not cheap, but then again, nothing at Disney really is. You'll be poor, but very happy with a full belly. There are a few attractions located in World Showcase, with Frozen Ever After and Ratatouille being the big names, but there are also a couple of smaller ones, with Beauty and the Beast sing-along in France, Visions of China in China, Canada Far and Wide in Soul Provision 360 in Canada, and the Three Caballeros in Mexico. All of these are worth checking out at least once, with Reflections of China and Canada Far and Wide being 360 films, hence the name of the Canadian one. The Three Caballeros being a dark ride featuring Donald Duck and his two poultry pals that I forget the name of, I'll flash them up on the screen. And Beauty and the Beast being a small film where you get to sing along to your favourite songs from the movie. Don't worry, I won't subject you to us doing this, although I'm pretty sure it's in one of my older Epcot videos. Next up is Frozen. This dark ride is located in the Norway Pavilion, and I don't think I've ever seen it without a queue, so bear that in mind when planning when to visit. Given the popularity of the films, this is probably going to be one you're going to do, especially if you've got kids with you. I'd probably recommend, if you have the paid Lightning Lane multipass, I'd make this one of your selections as slots fill up early. It's a slow-moving dark ride filled with animatronics of the Frozen cast that use projected faces in places, and I'm gonna say it, when they do that, it's creepy as fuck. Other than that though, this is a pretty good ride with a cool section where you're, spoiler alert, sent backwards as Elsa drops a banger with Let It Go. There is a drop as well, so be warned of that. You might get wet at the bottom, but I've noticed on this ride you don't get as wet as some of the other water rides. In the France Pavilion is Ratatouille. We originally did this ride in Disney Studios Park at Disneyland Paris, and the one here in Epcot is literally a carbon copy. I don't think there are any differences other than there potentially being less French in the Epcot version. It's very much a family-friendly ride, just like Frozen, that shrinks guests down to the size of a rat as you adventure through Gusteau's restaurant. Using 3D visuals and trackless ride technology, guests scurry through a bustling kitchen, dodging obstacles and experience the sights and smells of Paris from Remy's perspective. Another good reason to visit the France Pavilion is the ice cream. Ice cream. One thing that Epcot is well known for, that other parks don't tend to do, is it has festivals every year. These tend to be the Festival of the Arts, which is what was running when we visited last, which runs around mid-January to mid-February. The Flower and Garden Festival, which we've never actually had the pleasure of experiencing yet, runs mid-February to mid-May. The Food and Wine Festival, which runs August through to November. This one is our favourite for the food, obviously, and Claire likes to try the many gluten-free options available, though that seems to be getting worse in recent years. And finally, the Festival of the Holidays, which runs in December and over the Christmas period. The big two festivals are Food and Wine and Flower and Garden, though there tends to be some kind of festival on most of the year. We've very rarely seen Epcot without one running, to be honest, but I guess that comes down to us usually visiting in January or around August to October time, which for those who don't know, and especially international guests, tend to be some of the better times to visit with more manageable crowds and weather conditions. Just be warned though, September is hurricane season, so you run the risk of that, which we got to experience a couple years ago when Hurricane Ian hit while we were on property, link in the description. So it's currently Festival of the Arts here at Epcot. So what we get to do, we get to work as a team, grab a paintbrush and a colour, and all contribute to this giant paint by numbers mural. Epcot, along with Magic Kingdom, has an evening show that features fireworks. These have changed over the last few years, with there being 3 different shows since the long-running Illuminations Reflections of Earth stopped running back in 2019 after 20 years. Since then, we've had Epcot Forever, Harmonious, and more recently, Luminous, The Symphony of Us. All the shows have been great in my opinion, and I especially liked Harmonious, despite the hate it got from a lot of people. Yes, the barges were an eyesore in the daytime when they were here, but the use of projections and fireworks, along with all of the different Disney classic songs being sang in the native languages of the movie settings, was a nice touch. What is great about the fireworks here in Epcot, as opposed to Magic Kingdom, is because they are performed in the Central Lagoon, you can view them from anywhere around World Showcase, meaning everyone doesn't get cramped up trying to view them from the same place. It makes for a much more relaxed experience, though if you want a front and centre view, the viewing area is right at the entrance of World Showcase as you're coming from World Celebration. And that's a wrap on Epcot, my personal favourite park at Disney World. As per usual, this is where I ask for a like, comment and subscribe and all of that malarkey. It really does help. Next up, we'll be finishing off the 4 main parks with our guide to Magic Kingdom before moving on to the Polynesian Village Resort to finish this series off. So if you've enjoyed this video, I hope to see you in the next one.